All right, hello everyone. Welcome to another Mac draft today. I am doing a one-round Mac draft with trades. Um, so I decided that I'm going to be doing a two-round Mac draft in the future. However, it's just not close enough to the draft for me to do it. I also really don't feel like talking for an hour and a half while I record videos today because I talk a lot at work anyway. So I don't feel like it. So too bad. First pick in the draft today. Like I said in my last mock draft, it's really a 1A, 1B situation with the Panthers and Texans. I know Anthony Richardson had a really good pro day. I think that he distinguished himself as quarterback 3 ahead of Will Levis. But I can't put him in the same tier as Bryce Young and CJ Stroud at the moment. I think very well Anthony Richardson is either going to be the best of the four or the worst of the four. So, draft wise, I think if you look at the Carolina Panthers, I'm going to look at the arguments for CJ Stroud because I think Bryce Young is a better player. I think it's also very close. Bryce Young, I think, is my number 4 player in my board. Stroud is like 7, 8, or 9. But, okay, so why should the Panthers take CJ Stroud over Bryce Young? The one argument is Frank Reich's better with taller quarterbacks. The other one is the size and potential durability issues. Yeah, I mean, besides those two, Young is the better player. You're in Carolina, where, the weather's not bad. You're in the NFC South. It just makes more sense for me to take Bryce Young. He is a better prospect at this moment, a higher ceiling in my eyes. I don't think Bryce Young can bust. Can CJ Stroud bust? And that sounds super, super weird that I just said that. I understand that. I just I think Bryce Young is a better pick, but it's hard. It's such a hard situation right now. All right, enough talk about that. So pick 3, the Arizona Cardinals are on the clock. And I think after Anthony Richardson's pro day today, there's going to be momentum to trade up to 3. And you look at the teams, Seattle won't happen. I think Detroit's comfortable with Goff. The Raiders, it sounds like, are more of a fan of Will Levis at the moment. We'll see. Even though I think I heard a rumor, I'm not going to say the reporter because I don't want to, give a false thing. But I thought I saw a reporter say they liked Richardson more than Levis, but this was months ago. Um, Atlanta as well. I don't understand Atlanta's love of Desmond Ritter, to be honest with you. I don't. I think he's an okay quarterback, but if you have a chance to get a elite level quarterback, take that risk. And I don't think Arizona's going to trade back that far. I'm going to let the Raiders trade up, however, to select Anthony Richardson. I think this trade would be probably what it's going to be is it's going to be 3 years of twos to move up. And I'll throw in this pick. With probably, if Anthony Richardson's a Pro Bowler 2024, 2025, and moves up to a first round pick. I'm not doing the second round today, so that trade doesn't matter. But the Raiders do move up to select Anthony Richardson. Pick 4, the Colts are on the clock. So the Colts are in a weird spot because how much do they like Will Levis? My thing with the Colts is I guess I don't understand why the Colts would take a quarterback here they don't like the quarterback. I truly don't think Chris Ballard's on the hot seat. If you see what the Colts have done this offseason, the Colts don't look like a team that, Chris Ballard's on the hot seat at all. I think Shane Steichen, a good young coach, is brought in. I also think that Jim Irsay understands how valuable Chris Ballard is to the team. And I also really think of how respected Chris Ballard is around the league. He's not going to go anywhere. I don't think he shouldn't go anywhere. I think Chris Ballard's been a very good GM for the team. I don't think Frank Reich should have been fired. I think that was a great duo. It's just they didn't get the quarterback position right, which is obviously the most important position in the NFL. So, with all that said, at this moment, I don't have any evidence for me not to go Will Levis because maybe a second round Hendon Hooker situation I get. I could say draft Will Anderson and tank next year to get Caleb Williams. I'm not going to say that though because Chris Ballard is a man of high integrity. Pick 5, the Seattle Seahawks are on the clock. There is fireworks in Seattle. Pete Carroll is taking his shirt off. He is so happy because Will Anderson is a Seahawk. Seattle, you are by far the winners of this scenario with all 4 of those quarterbacks going top 4. Congratulations for that. Pick 6 is the Seahawks or the Lions are on the board. I'm going to trust the rumor that Lions don't want to go after Jalen Carter. Do I kind of think it's a smokescreen? Yes, I think I think it very well could be a smokescreen. They really like Jalen Carter. But I have to leave the evidence on the table, and the evidence says Jalen Carter's not going to be a Lion. I have them going at this moment Tyree Wilson. Really good edge rusher. Not a lot of injury. Or he's hurt, wasn't he? I think he's hurt right now. A good edge rusher. My favorite thing about Tyree Wilson is he can play inside as well. He's definitely a guy that I think would fit perfectly for the Eagles. It's just not going to happen in this mock draft. Pick 7, the Cardinals are on the clock. And I have a trade. I am going to have the Philadelphia Eagles coming up to pick 7. And the reason why is if you look at it, Atlanta is at 8. Chicago is going to be at 9. I think both teams would go after Jalen Carter. So the Eagles are going to be trading they're going to be trading their own second next year, as well as pick 94 to move up 3 spots. It's going to be a hefty price, and I'm an Eagle. And as an Eagle fan, I would be a little bit hesitant to do it, but moving up this much, you have to give up a lot of assets. And I do think I would trade down from pick 30. But at pick 7, I do have the Eagles going Jalen Carter. This is the dream fit for Jalen Carter. You get a guy who, first of all, he's going to be in a room full of veteran players. You're also going to be with Nakobe Dean and Jordan Davis. You know, this feels a lot like the Warren Sapp situation when he was in the draft with his off-the-field personality issues. It feels just like that. But, you know, you bring Jalen Carter in, you have a very good defensive tackle room right now with Fletcher Cox, Jordan Davis, Contavious Street. I think Milton Williams is still a very good defensive tackle. It's just this. Is the thing with the Eagles is you have to draft best player available. And if we didn't trade up to 7, I think, you know, Jalen Carter, Devin Witherspoon, and probably maybe Christian Gonzalez would have been off the board. And you would have to settle with someone that's not as talented. Pick 8, the Atlanta Falcons are on the board. I am going to take Devin Witherspoon. I think Devin Witherspoon may be a better prospect than Sauce Gardner was. It's my hot take. I think Devin Witherspoon's a beast, though. He is, you know, Darrelle Revis level of a corner. I think he would be such a good fit alongside of AJ Terrell. That would be, you know, a top 5 corner duo right away. Chicago at 9. I think Paris Johnson makes a lot of sense. He was a teammate with Justin Fields. You know, the thing, I think Paris Johnson's a very good. I think he's one of my top 5 blue chip players. I think he's a great left tackle. when it's really hard to find a great left tackle in the NFL. I think it's easier to find a guard. I think it's a little center. I think is hard to find as well. But I think left tackle is one of the hardest positions. And if you are not right at left tackle, you're not going to be in a good spot. You know, so you need to have that position locked down and good. Pick 10, Arizona. So I'm not trading back again. Cardinals fans, I know you traded back a lot. But here's the thing. If you guys are going into a rebuild type situation, look at all these picks you guys have, right? And you're going to be getting Christian Gonzalez. I think that's a very good spot for you guys. I think Arizona is going to be a good team. I mean, not next year, but in this circumstance, you guys have multiple second-round picks for the next few years. Plus, this draft, you have a lot of picks, too. Great job, Arizona. Pick 11. Titans are on the clock. I think I saw in a mock draft Quentin Johnston going there. I'm not a big fan of him as a fit. I think Jackson Smith-Njigba would be a very good option in the slot. The question is, do you want to go receiver? It's an okay receiver class. It's really not that great. I do think that a lot of these guys' values just is really a lot higher than it should be. However, there's one receiver that I think would fit the Titans perfectly. That's, I think Jordan Addison's such an underrated receiver. Very good route runner. I think he is the most balanced receiver in this year's class. Out of any of the receivers in this year's class, he has the highest potential to be a superstar. So I'm going to take him there. Pick 12, the Texans are on the clock. A popular pick right now is Jackson Smith-Njigba going pick 12. I get he's CJ Stroud's teammate. I really don't love the fit. I do know you guys did invest in the offensive line. You did bring Shaq Mason in. I do think the defensive line is still in need, because if you think about the Texans defense right now, there's really no one that's great on that defense. So I'm going to give you guys Lucas Van Ness. I gave you guys Nolan Smith in the last video. I don't want to give you the same exact thing if they're similarly consensusly graded. I know that sentence makes no sense at all, but I think Lucas Van Ness makes sense for the Texans. You get first of all, he's a very physical edge rusher. I wish he did have more moves to his game, and I understand he's just a good bull rusher. But having those power moves, if you're good at really good one move, that's great. We just need to see if he can add more moves to his game. Pick 13, the Jets are on the clock. I think Peter Skoronski is the favorite right now for the Jets, especially with how much receivers they're going to be bringing in this offseason. Protect Aaron Rodgers. Before I do that, though, I do want to actually make the Aaron Rodgers trade. And this is how I see the trade going. I think I said it before. It's going to be 15. So they're going to swap first-round picks, first of all. Packers will get pick 42 and then a 2 next year. So why I'm doing that is I think 2 second-round picks is a very fair price for Rodgers, plus Packers just move up 2 spots in the first round. I think that's easy. So the Packers are at pick 13. I think Jackson Smith-Njigba makes sense for them. You have Christian Watson, who's your more big body receiver. I think Romeo Doubs. I think he's more of a wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4. Get yourself Jackson Smith-Njigba, who is honestly a very good wide receiver 2. I don't know if he's ever going to be a wide receiver 1, but if you have a lot of wide receivers 2s in that building, you're not in a bad spot, especially if a young Jordan Love. Plus, he's very good in the slot. Pick 14, Patriots are on the board. Sorry, Jets. I was talking about Skoronski. You're not going to get him. I think he's going to go to the Patriots. I actually really have not seen a lot of mock drafts with Skoransky going number 14. The reason why I want to do that is, Patriots do need a little bit of help on that offensive line. I think that Belichick kind of understands that unless he does make a potential Lamar Jackson trade, Mac Jones is probably his last quarterback he may have. Because I don't see him staying in the league much longer and experimenting with other quarterbacks. Yeah, Mac Jones has to work for him. And he did a good job bringing in Juju Smith-Schuster. Let's get him one more blocker to protect him. Let's let Billy O'Brien and Mac Jones go to work. Pick 15, Jets. Kind of got a little screwed there. Not so fast. Let's bring Broderick Jones in. Obviously, I actually have a higher grade in Broderick Jones than Peter Skoransky. So, I think it's a better pick. You got a guy that I think could, slide into right tackle day one, depending on how Mekhi Becton's health is, or have Broderick play left tackle. Good move, though. Pick 16, Washington. I don't understand the whole let's make Sam Howell quarterback. I don't mind Sam Howell, but I would definitely maybe draft a Hendon Hooker or Tyson Bagent or Jake Haener. I think you still need to draft a quarterback this year. Thinking about the draft here, though, I think that you still need to improve that offensive line. I'm going to give you guys O'Cyrus Torrence. Very good guard. I have a first-round grade on him. I would say in the interior offensive line class, he's probably, I think he's a lot of people's number one, and I understand that. Cody Mauch would be my number one, but he's technically, you can classify him as a tackler. You can classify him as any position on the offensive line. But O'Cyrus Torrence is a very close number two. Pick 17, the Pittsburgh Steelers are on the clock. And, after thinking about it, I hate to be boring. I really, really do hate to be boring. It just makes the most sense. You have a need at corner. Your dad played for the Steelers. I think it's a good fit. We'll see how it works. Pick 18, the Lions are on the clock. And I do live in Michigan. I'm an Eagle fan, but I live in Michigan. And I talk to a lot of Lions fans. Because honestly, I want to talk to people who are a fan of the team. Because, yeah, you're a fan, you have biases, but in all honesty, you know your team more than anyone else. And, I brought up the idea of maybe drafting a tight end, but they seem pretty confident, and our tight end room's pretty good right now. So, earlier in the draft, you guys did get Terry Wilson. So, now, I think getting another receiver would be a smart idea. I know you guys do have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, but receivers are hard to come by if you get it right. I'm going to take Quentin Johnston. I'm not really high on Quentin Johnston. He just makes a lot of sense because the Lions need that physical receiver with losing DJ Chark. Pick 19, the Bucs. I think last draft I gave you guys Dalton Kincaid. I think you have a lot of needs right now. You guys are not going to be a really good team next year. I think you go best offensive lineman available. I'm going to give you guys Cody Mauch, though. Buck fans are not going to like it. I'm just very high on Cody Mauch. I think Cody Mauch's such a good player. I know for a fact Cody Mauch's going to be good in the NFL. He can play all 5 positions. Even day one, he can be your backup at all those positions, and that's a really good thing to have. Pick 20. Seahawks are on the clock. They drafted Will Anderson Jr. at pick 5. Brian Branch does intrigue me. I don't know what I want to do here. You guys brought a lot of defensive tackles in, so I don't want to do that. What about Zay I'm gonna draft Zay Flowers. I think Zay makes a lot of sense. I think Zay Flowers is such a good receiver. Um, Great speed, great route running. I think Zay Flowers makes sense as well with Tyler Lockett getting older. Plus, DK Metcalf's more that big go route guy. You need a guy who is a little shiftier and it gets open better. Pick 21, the Chargers are on the clock. And, actually, what's crazy is there's a lot more receivers went off the board. Chargers, the question here is Bijan Robinson. Would you draft Bijan Robinson if you're the Chargers here? At this point, Austin Eckler's still on the team. I'm not going to do that. I am kind of intrigued with one player. I'm not. A lot of people are going to push back on it, but I don't know what's going on with Khalil Mack. There's a rumor he may get cut. Just add another edge rusher to the building. Bring Nolan Smith in. I definitely not going to be the most popular pick. I think he just makes a lot of sense though. And in all honesty, too, he does remind me a lot like Khalil Mack when he was at Buffalo. I think obviously Khalil Mack was a better prospect than Nolan Smith, but it just makes sense. Pick 22. So what's Baltimore doing? If I'm Baltimore, I would try to trade Lamar ASAP. Go with Snoop Huntley. Maybe if you get a good enough pick at a quarterback, or at worst, just suck this year and get Caleb Williams, Drake May, or Cam Miller next year. If you're at pick 22 for the Ravens, I think Myles Murphy just makes a lot of sense. Well, I'm going to go Myles Murphy. I think a defensive tackle would make sense as well. But you guys, with losing Matt Judon, you need to keep on getting more and more good edge rushers in the building. Pick 23, Kalijah Clancy's fall will drop. I have him going pick 23 to the Vikings. Defensive tackle. Defensive tackle always seems to be a need for the Vikings. Like the last few drafts, almost all of them, like, ooh, defensive tackle. Kalijah Clancy is a lot different than how the Vikings defensive tackles have been over the last few years. He is not super big. He's a really good athlete. I think it's a good pick. Pick 24, the Jags are on the clock. I would say best offensive lineman available, but I do think you have a little bit of a need at corner with losing Shaq Griffin. That's the route I'm going to go. Well, he's been getting a lot of hype recently. I'm actually going to take Emmanuel Forbes over Deonte Banks. I know Deonte Banks has really good speed. But, I've been seeing Emmanuel Forbes rise up the board. I've not had a super big look at him yet. He's on my list of because right now I've watched tape on 70 guys. Nope. Probably about 76 guys in the draft right now. And every day I'm trying to watch tape on 3 different players. Emmanuel Forbes still on my list of guys to watch. I can have more insight on him when I watch him, but when I see a guy rising up the board, there's a reason why he's rising up the board. So I'm going to take him there. Pick 24 to the Jaguars. Pick 25, the New York Giants are on the clock. I think Brian Branch is actually a great pick for you guys. You guys lost Julian Love this offseason. I think he's a perfect fit. He's actually not my favorite safety. I like Antonio Johnson from Texas A&M a little bit better, but I think he would be good for the Giants defense. And I think Wink Martindale will be a great coach for him. Pick 26, I have the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, as an Eagle fan, I hate to do that. It just makes so much sense. It's the perfect Jerry Jones pick. I'm not talking about that anymore. Pick 27, Buffalo. See, I really would not go corner at this point. I really would not go DB if I'm Buffalo at this moment. Obviously, it's not all about what the team needs are on PFF's thing. I get a little bit of insight from that. I think at this point for the Bills, you go best player available. I'm actually going to take Brian Brzee. I'm higher in, I have to give Brian Brzee the benefit of the doubt with his bad tape this year. What he went through was just so terrible, and I feel bad for him. I know he's going to be a better player. I know he's going to be a really good player in the NFL. I'm happy he's going to such a great team, such a great culture, and such a great fan base with the Buffalo Bills. Pick 28, Cincinnati. Dalton Kincaid makes a lot of sense. He is one of my blue chip guys. Such a good tight end. I think he would fit perfectly with Burrow, and I think you may be able to move off maybe Tyler Boyd or T Higgins now if you're the Bengals. Pick 29, the New Orleans Saints are on the clock. The Saints are in a weird spot. I whenever I draft for the Saints, it's weird because especially when Sean Payton was a head coach, they always drafted guys that were like projected in the third round that I was super, super high on. So let's go with Zach Pickens. No, just kidding. I'm not going to do that, Saints fans. Don't worry. I do, however, want to get maybe the best defensive player on the board for you guys. I'm not as high in Adebawore as a lot of other people are. I know I butchered his name there. I'm sorry. You know what? I'm gonna take Tuli Tuiapulotu. I have a early second round grade on him at the moment. And hey, I know stats aren't everything, but he did lead. What was it? FBS and stat, or I don't know. He led the top 100, whatever. He led the league in sacks in college. I know there was smaller schools guys that did better. Tape wise, though, he's a good pass rusher. Plus, it feels like a Saints pick. It kind of feels like how Peyton Turner was hyped up. So I think it makes sense for the Saints taking Tuli Tuiapulotu, who actually probably would have been my pick at 30 for the Eagles. Eagles at 30. I did draft Jalen Carter at pick 7. Sadly, Dallas took Bijan. So Eagles fans, I'm not going to be able to get you that. What do I want to do here? See, I'm not as high on Michael Mayer. You know what? I'm going to take Darnell Washington. Yeah, I understand. Oh my God, we call us the Georgia Eagles soon. Um, I think Darnell Washington. Obviously, it's not just a combine with him; it's his tape. I mean, he is such a good blocker, which would be perfect for Philly's run scheme. And he didn't really produce as a tight end, as a receiving tight end, but you also had Brock Bowers in front of you. Well, when you're going to come to the Eagles of Dallas Goedert in front of you, right? And if Darnell Washington was able to play that good as a tight end too, he's going to be such a good tight end too in Philadelphia, 100%. And a tight end too is a very valuable role of how much we run 12 personnel. I know we drafted Grant Calcaterra last year. I know we have Jack Stoll. Those guys are just mediocre. I'm not really as high on both of them. Pick 31, final pick in this draft. Chiefs are on the clock. Running for everything in my head. I kind of want to go Michael Mayer here. I'm a little tempted to. You guys do. No, I can't do it. No, I'm really tempted to take him here. I just can't do it though. So I think Adebawore would make some sense. I'm not as high on him, but I think he would be very well next to Chris Jones, and that's who I'm going to take. So look at the mock draft. You know me, I like to go back on the draft, think, what was my best pick? What was my worst pick? Obviously, because, you obviously can improve life. My pick that I'm super, super, super excited about was actually Brian Brzee of the Bills. I think that's one of my picks I'm happy about. Tuli Tuipulotu, I'm happy about him as well. Looking back, I think maybe Osiris Torrance to Washington, maybe not the best fit. But, well, that's it for the video. I'll do an Eagles 7-round mock draft today as well. But thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Bye.